Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.
My friends and I always tune into the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Todd is entertaining, informative, and always delivers the goods.
Todd might not tell you what you want to hear, but he's going to tell you what you need to hear. And all you got to do is listen.
Hold on, Todd. Don't let go. It's time for the Todd L. Levitt Law Show.
I met her in a club down in Old Soho, where you drink champagne and it tastes like Coca-Cola. C-O-L-A Cola. She walked up to me and she asked me to dance. I asked her her name and in a dark brown voice she said Lola. L-O-L-A Lola. La 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 Lola. Well, I'm not the world's most physical guy, but when she squeezed me tight she nearly broke my spine. Oh my Lola. La 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 Lola. Well, I'm not dumb, but I can't understand why she walked like a woman but talked like a man. Oh my Lola. La 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 Lola. La 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 Lola.
Welcome to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Good morning, good evening, and good night. I'm yours truly, attorney Todd L. Levitt, broadcasting and podcasting in the Black Diamond Group mothership in the middle of the mitten in a beautiful green nutrient field with my good friend Craig Russell, the Muscle, America's favorite nug. He is very dense today, folks, very creative nug. I think that's due to Bruce Banner. The water's wet, the sky is blue. Craig Russell, we love smoking you. How you doing, Craig? Welcome to the show. It's getting longer every time, isn't it?
It does. It just gets longer and longer, but I'm okay with it. I'm America's favorite dog. How can I not be okay with it? I am fan-frickin-tastic. How are you, Todd?
I am doing well, my man. I am doing well, and we opened up the show with one of our all-time top 5 groups, period, in quotation marks, explanation mark, the Kinks, Craig.
It's not only top 5 favorite group. This is one of your top 5 favorite songs of all time.
Lola.
I've worked on the radio for as long as I can remember, and as long as I've known you, that's the only song you ever call me and ask me to request. The request is Lola by the Kinks. So
Lola just reminds me of growing up in the D, Berkeley, class of 83. That was just one of those tunages that was played quite a bit in the, when it come out. I mean, I recalled from the 70s.
like early 70s, like maybe even 1970, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that one goes out to Jen, by the way.
Okay, right on. Now, as always, before we even get to the show, as always, there's usually the song we open the show with. But then there's also a song you really wanted to open the show up with. What was that song?
Sister Golden Hair, Craig. That's all I'm going to say. Sister Golden Hair goes out to all the listeners all over planet Earth, and especially the listening audience right here in central, mid to upper northern Michigan. Play it, turn it, burn it. Let's do it, my man.
Well, I tried to make it Sunday, but I got so damn depressed that I set my sights on Monday. And I got myself undressed. I ain't ready for the altar, but I do agree there's times when a woman sure can be a friend of mine. Well, I keep on thinking about you, Sister Golden Hair Surprise, and I just can't live without you. Can't you see it in my eyes? I've been one poor correspondent, and I've been too hard to find, but it doesn't mean you ain't been on my mind. Will you meet me in the middle? Will you meet me in the end? Will you love me just a little?
That's an American classic. It's America is the name of the band. Sister Golden Hair.
Sister Golden Hair.
That's a
great song.
We're doing
great
the early.
song.
It's an early '70s kind of day this morning. We're doing that, and
Yeah, wasn't it? I think that was from 1975. I could be wrong.
so yes, mid '70s, something like that. When that guitar music was really, that acoustic guitar thing was really popular in the mid '70s. You know that, and you remember Mac Davis, and you remember Gordon Lightfoot, and all those guys used to do that. You know that acoustic guitar thing going on. That was
Oh yeah.
70s.
Oh
for sure.
yeah. We should play more 70s music on the show.
We can do that. We have.
We really could, can't we?
We really have the ability.
Yeah. How you enjoying, by the way, Bruce Banner this morning?
I was going to say Bruce Banner is the strain of the week. I'm assuming. Is that correct?
It is, and you are the nug of all nugs, but Bruce Banner comes in very popular strain and very dense. It allows you to be creative, and that's a cross, I believe, between OG Kush and Strawberry Diesel, folks. That's right, Bruce Banner. And if the Hulk had taken and participated in recreational cannabis with his namesake, he may not have turned into a green monster.
All the time, yeah. So
all the time.
Bruce Banner was the Hulk's alter ego, correct?
Alter ego, right? Exactly.
Okay. I thought his name was David Banner, but what do I know?
It's Bruce Banner.
Bruce Banner. Oh, I'm going to go
Bruce
with
Banner.
it. I'm going with it. So,
hey, Craig, how is your weekend going? This is obviously the anniversary of 9/11, so we are here on the radio, podcasting worldwide, but we keep in our prayers and thoughts all those who perished and those who have suffered since, the families, the kids, first responders. So I definitely want to mention that it's the 20th anniversary.
yeah, no, it's hard to. You couldn't go anywhere this weekend without seeing something about that. Of course, a lot of the tributes yesterday and everything, which leads me to my question to you, sir. Do you remember where you were when 9/11 happened?
I was on Haggerty Road, crossing the railroad track, heading to the 35th District Court, listening to a radio station in Metro Detroit with Jay Towers, good friend of mine, actually, Jay Towers. And when the first plane hit, I thought it was like a little, four-seater when it hit. And then I ended up going into the 35th District Court, up into the now retired Judge McDonald's courtroom in the 35th District Court, Plymouth, Canton, Northville. Judge McDonald, great judge down there at 35th. And watched the rest of the coverage with Judge McDonald as the second plane hit, and it was we were just standing there in shock, the judge and I. How about you, Craig?
I remember this super, super well. I was in Gaylord at the time, and I remember getting up that morning and looking outside, and of course, this was as things were going on. I was up probably about 8 o'clock that morning. I was on the computer. That's back when you had to dial up. That was way before high-speed internet or anything. You remember that?
Oh, yeah. AOL. Remember AOL? Everybody had an AOL account.
AOL account, exactly, because they gave out 8 million of those little discs. But so I remember I was online, and I had the Today Show on, across the room, and I remember watching the first plane hitting and not thinking much of it. But then when the second one hit, it was like, then their tones all changed. And of course, they don't do it now, but they used to do it. Now, maybe they did it for yesterday for the 20th anniversary, but they used to first on NBC proper, then on MSNBC, and I think even on CNBC, the NBC News channels, they would replay in its entirety that morning in real time. So at 8:43 on the whatever morning they would replay, they would start the tape from there, and they would replay up until the second tower fell. And they would just replay the live, and there was so much we didn't know at that time. I just recall remembering that as I sat in the judge's chambers there at the courthouse, the whole court just came to a standstill. Yeah. Actually, everything came to a standstill. Yeah.
But it was hard to comprehend what was going on as the Pentagon got hit and then the plane down in Pennsylvania. I thought our country was under attack. That's what my first thought was. And I was thinking to myself, what am I supposed to do now? Where am I supposed to go? How am I supposed to react? Yeah. I mean, I was calm. Everybody around me was as calm as they could be. But I just recall vividly remembering, God, are we under attack? Was that what you thought?
Well, yeah, and we were.
I mean, we were under attack, but obviously, folks, we were under attack,
right,
in a big way.
Yeah.
But my point is, I'm thinking, what's next? Are they hitting the bridges?
Exactly.
Chicago. So when I say thinking we were under attack, my thought process was
the whole country.
The whole country. Is this going on?
I got you.
You know, for days to come. And what am I supposed to do from this point forward? I'm thinking of the kids right away, you know, and all my family first and foremost.
Exactly. I mean, look, you know, let's be, you know, very frank here. It was a scary time.
It
really was because nobody, you know, it wasn't like today. We have so much technology today and so much, you know, you're so well connected today. That was about the edge of that. From about that point on, you started getting way more constant connection. At that point, you could still not have a cell phone and it wouldn't be a big deal. You could still have to meet somebody for dinner and be a few minutes late and nobody was, you know, freaking out about it or anything. Nowadays, you know, everybody can be constantly contacted with anything. If you're
Everybody's
connected,
right? We're all connected.
And if you were walking along and something happened today, you would know about it within seconds. And at that time, we still, you know, you still had to wait to find out about stuff. You still didn't know. 2-3 hours into that, we had an idea what was going on, but didn't actually know. I mean, I remember being in Gaylord, and of course, if you're up north, and you know this because you've been up north a billion times, the sky, since you're closer to the water, you know, the sky is blue because it reflects back the water. You know, the sky isn't really blue. It's a reflection of, like, when there's no clouds, when you see water and stuff, it's a reflection back. And when
you paid attention in class, Craig, I just want to say you get an A.
You know, I did every once in a while.
But no, your point is well taken. No, go ahead.
But when you're up north, the sky is just a deeper, darker color of blue since you're closer to the water. And I remember that day going outside, because I still had to go to work that day. I was on the air at the Peak at the radio station in Gaylord. And, you know, I left for work about 10:30, 11 o'clock that morning after pretty much everything had kind of started to settle down a little bit. And you go outside and you look and you saw how deep and blue the sky was. And I will never forget how deep and dark blue the sky was that day because it was that clear. And because there were no clouds. Because, you know, you get those chemical trails from airplanes. And even in places like northern Michigan, there's planes that go across. There was no planes in the air. So there were no clouds at all. It was kind of surreal. I will always remember that. And I'll always remember Katie Couric and Brian Gumbel trying to make a heads or tails of what was going on the Today Show coverage. I don't know why I was on the Today Show, just happened to be on the Today Show that morning. And it was just a freaky time. But you know what, though? But think about how things are now. I mean, I would not want us to ever be attacked like that again. Never, ever in a billion years. Don't ever want to have to go through that again. But remember how we all came together? Remember the patriotism, the camaraderie that we all had afterwards?
Absolutely. First responders. I had friends that went to the site to volunteer to help remove debris.
Yeah.
I recall I knew a half a dozen amazing individuals who left their jobs and had permission to go do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, something I didn't know about that day or that morning was 500,000 people were evacuated from the island there in Manhattan at the tip by barges and boats.
Yeah.
Did you know that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, there was a ton of people.
I did not know that until I watched something this week on TV that talked about those boats. Some of them were just retired fire boats. It was unbelievable.
You see, because now, and around this time of year, you always see there's usually most of the fringe cable channels have all the documentaries, you know, 911 war stories and all this kind of stuff. And it's hard to watch some of those because, you know, you still see the video. They'll still show the graphic video of people jumping out of the towers. And, you know, they're like, I'm either going to die this way or I'm going to die that way. And it's hard to watch and think about those people, what they had to be going through at that time. I can't even fathom it.
Yeah,
it's hard.
That bothers me every time I see it on TV for days about the people making that choice to either burn or jump, and then you hear the bodies when you're watching video.
Yeah, what kind of choice is that to have to make? I'm either going to burn in the building or I'm going to jump and fall, 84 stories to my death. Who has to make that kind of a choice? Oh my God, it's just terrible. And so, not only that. But I also, one of my best friend in the whole wide world, Jim Sargent, who passed away last year, he worked in the Ren Center in downtown Detroit. He was like in the 23rd floor of the Ren Center. He worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers. He quit the day after 9/11.
I would too.
Couldn't go back in that building. He's like, I can't go in that building. He goes, there's no way in the world I could ever go back. He never went back up in that building. He ended up getting a job with something called Alex Partners, and it was in a 3-story building. And then he worked in that until he couldn't work anymore because he had MS. Couldn't go back in the building. He was like, nope, can't do it. And I'm like, I totally understand. But that's the effect that most people don't know, is the things that happen to people who had nothing to do with it, but how it affected the psyche of a lot of people in this country. Not being able to go back in a big building like that because you're
or get on a plane or go or something like that. Yeah.
Or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, not to go on and on and on about it, but it's just being the 20th anniversary. You just, and I know the next one will be the 25th anniversary. That'll be a big deal. They're still not completely done with all the restoration of that area around. Have you been to the new World Trade Center there in New York? No. I haven't either. But they said there's still buildings that are there's still some empty spots where there were buildings, and they're still trying to build things around it. They've got the new tower up, which I guess is supposed to be the safest building in the world. It's got a separate ladder. It's got a separate stairwell for first responders. It's supposed to be able to withstand. I mean,
I did not know that.
Yeah, when you see pictures of it, you'll see there's a.
Well, I've seen the building, but I didn't know those extra details like that.
Yeah, there's a tower. There's almost it looks like it's almost off the side of the building. That is just for first responders, a separate stairwell and an elevator to go up for first responders. And they say it's the safest building. It can withstand 200-mile-an-hour winds and stuff like that. Let's hope it never has to find out how safe it is. But New York just, not to deviate, but New York just got hit by, was it Ida that the
came
hurricane
through there?
Exactly. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you see how vulnerable some of those places can be. But I just remember
Craig,
when it all came together. I wish we could get back to that. I wish we could get back to that patriotism that doesn't matter what your political thing is.
We will be okay. We will be okay.
I just hope we could. I wish we could get back to that.
We are okay.
Yeah.
We are okay. We will be okay, and we are okay. And coming up on the show, how do you like the segue, Craig?
That was beautiful.
Is a good friend of ours and the show. Mario Porter is coming on the show. So we're going to welcome Mario. And Mario and his brothers were on the show a couple months ago. And they're from the Hempire Collective, celebrating their 1-year anniversary. I was there all day yesterday, by the way, right there at 10147 North Loomis Road. Just an amazing event. And, a veteran-owned cannabis business, veterans, and they give back so much to the Hempire Collective.
Yep.
So yesterday they had their 1-year anniversary on 9/11, and Mario is going to come on here in a moment and talk about it. But they were taking donations, which I was more than happy to contribute to assist family members of veterans who have served our country as they are veterans themselves. The family, the Porter family. But what a great dispensary, great company, the Hempire Collective. Right here in Mid-Michigan on Loomis Road in Clare, 10147, Craig. Great place, great time yesterday. What a great turnout, 1-year anniversary. So make sure you get out and check out the Hempire Collective wherever you are in the state of Michigan or traveling from outside the state of Michigan. Be sure to stop off and check out the products and purchase something.
And say hi for us. Actually, we will. We have to take a break on the Todd Levitt Law Show. When we come back, we'll talk to Mario Porter from the Hempire Collective. It's coming back.
I met her in a club down in Old Soho, where you drink champagne and it tastes like Coca-Cola, C-O-L-A Cola. She walked up to me and she asked me to dance. I asked her her name, and in a dark brown voice she said Lola, L-O-L-A Lola, la 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 Lola. Well, I'm not the world's most physical guy, but when she squeezed me tight, she nearly broke my spine. Oh my Lord. La 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 la
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show, broadcasting and podcasting with my good friend Craig Russell, the Muscle. He is America's favorite dense nug today, folks, coming in strong with a 21% THC Bruce Banner, OG Kush, Strawberry Diesel. How you feeling this morning, Craig?
I am fantastic, Todd. Just can't be better.
Yeah, that's great. So, we talked about Mario Porter coming on the show, and I was running a bit late this morning, so Mario came on before I arrived and did a great segment to talk about Hempire Collective and the 1-year anniversary and all they do as a family and a family of veterans and how much they give back to the community.
So without further ado, here is Mario Porter from the Hempire Collective. Yay!
Hey!
How's it going, Mario?
Good. How are you, Craig?
Good. I know the show is actually the day after 9/11, but of course we've been talking about 9/11 this morning a little bit. Where were you during 9/11 20 years ago?
All right. So 9/11, 20 years ago, I had just gotten out of the Army in January of 2001.
Okay.
8 months later, I got bored. 9 months later, I got bored. I was like, man, I just want to do something military related. It's the only thing I knew at that point. So I joined the reserves.
Okay.
On September 8th, 2001, I had my first drill in Waterford, Michigan. And after that, so I did that. Monday was September 11th, right?
Yeah.
8th, 9th, 10th.
Yep.
So that morning, Monday morning, I was sleeping. My mom called me and she said, hey, some planes hit the tower, the Twin Towers. And I thought when she said plane, I just thought she meant like, a little plane.
Yeah. Like a personal aircraft, really, because there's been a couple of those. Right. At the Empire State Building a few years ago. So you thought maybe I was just an accident. Yeah.
Yep. And then I turned on the news and there it was. And so September 11th, 2001, I was in my living room in my apartment in Auburn Hills watching that whole thing unfold in front of me. And I don't know, it depends on how you look at it. Fortunately or unfortunately for me, I had just started my reserve training, so I was attached to that unit. So they could have called me back, but they didn't call me back. If I had have just not joined the reserves, I would have gotten called back in immediately because I was an infantryman,
right?
Airborne. So that would have brought me, back in. But I did what I could. I kind of felt bad about my situation, but. I was young, had a young son, and, I just did what I could and, served in the reserves at that point.
And, of course, the whole family, for those who don't know the story, tell us the story of your family involvement with the military.
Okay, so as a youngster, my brother Trey, he joined the Army. He must have been 19 or 20 at the time. I can't remember. May have just been 20. Joined. And then a few years later, I realized, hey, you know what? I'm not doing anything with my life, so let me join the Army. I joined the Army. And then, a few years after I got out, Ty, Trey's twin brother, went in. He served 9 years. And then, a lot of people just followed suit after that. Trey sort of started something. And, we turned into a service family, but sure. I have a cousin, one of my niece's mother. She joined the service at an advanced age for what's considered, service. So a lot of us joined the service, but my dad did serve in the Navy. My grandfather served in World War II. My uncle served in the Navy as well, but we never considered ourselves a military family. But once Trey did that, we just sort of incidentally became a military family, and we served, and we're proud of it.
Very much so. And of course, Trey, and explain everything that happened after that.
Okay, so with Ty, he did Trey retired after 20 years.
Right.
Ty did his 9. They both did several tours in Afghanistan and Iraq. Ty did more tours in Afghanistan than he did in Iraq, and Trey did more tours in Iraq than he did in Afghanistan. But between them, they had 8 or 9 deployments.
Wow.
Ty, after serving over there, he was a combat engineer and a truck driver, and he worked at the burn pits there. And the burn pits in those places are places where they dispose of things like human waste and all kinds of garbage and stuff like that, and they burn it with diesel fuel, gives off toxic fumes. Well, Ty got out of the Army, and then December of 20, let me see, he's going to be gone 5 years. So December of, wow, hold on. I got to do the math. It's been so long. 2017, then there's 26. So 2014, December of 2014, he went to the hospital with some pain in his side, and turns out he had cancer. And we attribute it to him working the burn pits, because if you look at a lot of the studies right now of veterans that went over there, they come back with a lot of kidney and liver issues. Ty's cancer started in his kidney, advanced to his liver before they caught it. And he went in, when he was in the service, he went into what was called sick call. They sort of neglected it, gave him Motrin, said, go on your way. Never took him in, never took him seriously. And then, that eventually cost him his life. But, there are a lot of people, who die from war who don't necessarily die in war.
Right.
And Ty was one of those people that died because of the war.
Because he served his country, and even though he didn't die in a battle, he still fought.
Right.
He still fought and served his country, and even though he died afterwards, he still served. I mean, that's still
And so
for sure.
And even though he didn't lose his life in battle, he still laid down his life for this country.
Exactly. Which is, of course, is so honorable. And even though, September 11th is a day of remembrance, it is also kind of a Memorial Day kind of thing, and definitely a patriotic pride kind of day for not only for the people we lost in 9/11, but for all the people who stepped up after 9/11, who, we just obviously just ended the longest war in our history. And the people who, and of course, thank you for your service, and thank everyone else in your family for your service, who went to all these places across the country to make our lives safer, better, easier here back at home. So you can do the things like open up the Hempire Collective, correct?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. And so, with that, it was built on Ty's memory.
Right.
And like Ty, there are still people this day who are suffering the ill effects of the cleanup after 9/11, the first responders that went in there. Sure. They're still suffering from that. People dying every day from, from doing their duty. So with that in mind, and we didn't go into this wanting to have this on September 11th. It just so happened to coincide with September 11th. Our 1-year anniversary is September 12th. With that, it made more sense for us to do it on September 11th. It's a Saturday. More people are off work.
Sure.
More people can come celebrate with us.
Sure.
So we wanted people to understand that, the world keeps turning, even though it is a day of remembrance, even though it is a Memorial Day of types. You have to, the world keeps going. So with that in mind, we didn't want people to think that we're being insensitive to 9/11, because we are a military family. So what we did with this event is that we wanted to have a good time, but we didn't want to have a good time without remembering the people who gave their lives and continue to give their lives because of what happened on September 11th. We took up some donations for veterans.
Awesome.
We had a moment of silence for the people who gave it all and continue to give it all. But we also had a good time. Zydeco Ziggy was out there.
Sure.
Playing his blues, and carrying the Wayward Sons as well. We had a pig roast. and it was just it was a really good time. It was a really good time, and it was a fun way to commemorate our anniversary and to remember September 11th as well.
And of course, also to talk about the things that you guys do, because obviously I'm sure you have a lot of veterans and a lot of military people who are customers at the Hempire Collective, because this, a lot of the pain, a lot of the PTSD, a lot of the anxiety, cannabis products can help with that. CBD oil can help with those kind of things.
Yeah, and they absolutely can. We see it, every day. We do offer a 20% discount for veterans because the tax is so heavy on cannabis in the state at 16%. We want to give them a little more than just a tax break. We want to give them a little bit more off. So I have to think that it's one of our or one of the best veteran discounts in the state. But on top of that, you see these veterans, they come in, they, like you said, they have PTSD, they have pain, they have injuries. So they use cannabis in a way that helps them cope with a lot of that stuff. And there are many different ways to do it. Like you said, there's CBD, oil, lotion, tinctures, rubs, salves. But then there's also the cannabis side, which helps with a myriad of problems. One of our more popular ones for pain is Rick Simpson oil, or as we call it, RSO, which was invented by a man named Rick Simpson, who treated his cancer with it and put it into remission. And I put that in quotes. He cured his own cancer,
right?
With this Rick Simpson oil. But you see a lot of benefits with pain, as opposed to taking opiates. You take something like Rick Simpson oil, which is not addictive, but it is going to definitely help you with your pain.
And I know that's one of the things that both Todd and I love about your business is not only the fact, obviously, you're a business, but obviously the veteran angle, and of course you guys being a military family, it really helps out the whole Clare community in that area. Give everybody your address and phone number and how they can get a hold of you and how they can find out more about the Hempire Collective.
Okay, well, if you want to find out more about the Hempire Collective, you can go to thehempirecollective.com and check out, go into the About section, check out the Ty Porter story. There's a great video that was done by a company in Midland. I can't remember their name off the top of my head. They do a lot of our videos, but it gives you a really good idea of who we are as a family and why we do what we do. It's at 10147 North Loomis Road, and that's in Clare, 48617. And if you want to give us a call, it's 989-424-6665. And go to our website. You can see our menu or Weed Maps. You can see us on Weed Maps and just see what we have. And, it's people love us. We try to run our business with compassion and with the community in mind. I'm not out here trying to, obviously we are business, like you said, we are trying to make money, but at the same time, I'm not out here trying to gouge people. We live in a community that suffered from so many things, including the current pandemic. And we try to offer affordable prices for people with as many discounts as we can allow.
And you can tell because, you're not up here like a carnival barker or a showman or anything like that. You're almost struggling to talk about yourself and about this situation because you can tell this is not your comfort level, talking about yourself and talking about everything. But people it's important. They should know the story and they should know why you guys are there and know why Todd and I both love your business and why Todd thinks you guys are just great and why we are so happy to have you at the expo.
Right.
And why we like talking to you guys. And so that works out. So Mario Porter from the Porter family, from the Hempire Collective, we appreciate everything that you guys do. Thank you for your service and for this weekend especially. And hope the anniversary celebration was great. And thank you for coming on with Todd and me.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Todd, and I appreciate you having me.
It was great having Mario, and what a great family, what a great business. You could just tell he sounds a little uncomfortable talking about himself and about the family and what they stand for and what they do. But what a great story. Of course, the story about Ty and Trey and everyone, you can see that at their website. You can also see it at the store as well. Just a great family, and that's why one of the best businesses, and that's why you love them and I love them because they're fantastic.
Yeah, just an amazing family, a local family, a family of veterans who have sacrificed. Trey, the whole story with their brother. And Alan does such a great job in the community as well. He was on our show last time. But Mario, it's always great having Mario on. And I called him on the phone and said, "Hey, Mario, I was obviously with you guys all day yesterday because coming, Saturday, September 11th, 1-year anniversary, Hempire Collective right there in 10147 North Loomis Road." Right there in Clare County. So what a great company, great folks, and they give so much back to the community. So I recommend everyone out there be sure to travel to the Hempire Collective. Check it out.
Beautiful Clare, Michigan. Hey, we got to take a break on the Todd 11 Law Show. When we come back, we'll talk more about law, maybe?
Yes.
Well, I tried to make it Sunday, but I got so damn depressed that I set my sights on Monday and I got myself undressed. I ain't ready for the altar, but I do agree there's times when a woman sure can be a friend of mine. Well, I keep on thinking about you, sister golden hair surprise, and I just can't live without you. Can't you see it in my eyes? I've been one poor correspondent, and I've been too hard to find, but it doesn't mean you ain't been on my mind. Will you meet me in the middle? Will you meet me in the air? Will you love me just a little, just enough to show you care? Will I try to fake it? I don't mind saying I just can't make it.
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Coming back strong, Craig. You mixed it up on the folks there with America. Good job on that one.
Hey, every once in a while, I like to throw you a curveball and see if you're paying attention.
Yeah, I'm sitting right in front of you. Of course I'm paying
I know,
attention.
but still,
Hey, big shout out to all the guys, Trevor, everybody at Ray's Bike Shop in Clare, Midland, Michigan. Ray's does such a great job. All the bike shops do, but I was up in Clare County, as I often am, on a weekly basis. Had to stop off at Ray's Bike Shop to get some new rubber put on one of my babies there. So I wanted to give Ray's a big shout out in Midland. They do Clare and Midland, same company. They do a great job, Craig.
This has got to be your favorite time of year because it's starting to get a little cooler. And
wow.
The weather's beautiful, and you start to see the leaves turning. Because I know you do a lot of fat biking all the way through, right through until the snowfall. So this
we haven't transitioned over the fat bikes yet, but the Iceman Cometh is taking place in November. We have the Beer Roubaix coming up in Hastings, Michigan, still big bike race. But the Iceman, which takes place, folks, in Kalkaska to Traverse City every year. We do that big here and I every year. And what a great event. It ends up at Timber Ridge. Big shout out to Gordo from Timber Ridge. One of my buddies out there who owns Timber Ridge in Traverse City. What a great place. Take the family, camp out. So the Iceman starts in Kalkaska, ends up at Timber Ridge, with about 20,000+ people there just shouting and having a great time. And last year it was a little different. This year it will definitely be back. But also big shout out to my buddy Jimmy Plakis, Judge James Plakis of the 35th District Court. We were talking about Judge McDonald in the first segment, Craig,
right.
Who retired, and my good buddy Jimmy Plakis, who I went to college with, he's now the honorable judge there, just like Big Daddy Danny Bain. Big shout out to Big Daddy Danny Bain. Last week I was up in Clare County quite a bit in front of the honorable Josh Farrell, one of my, and again, am I brown nosing? Yes, no. I call it like it is, okay? There are a lot of good men and women out there in the judiciary who deserve a lot of credit, and Judge Farrell happens to be one of them. And if people don't like it because I have a platform and they think that I'm, saying that because I'm asking favor, I'm not. I'm just saying like it is. And I get treated like everybody else, fairly, as do my clients, as a professional. So if I see something wrong, I'm going to call it out. And I see a lot of good out there, and I'm just saying there's a lot of good out there. So I was in front of, that judge last week. So big shout out to, Harrison and all the men and women in the Clare County Circuit and District Court up there, Craig.
You're a busy guy, Todd. Man, how do you find time to sleep?
I just think a lot, Craig. See, here's the thing.
Okay.
You have the same personality as I do. Our brains fire at a high rate. So
Sure.
Information is continuously coming in and going out. So to the outside world, it appears that, wow, boy, we're so busy. You're doing this, that, and the other thing. But keeping busy for somebody with my chemical makeup is very soothing. You see, I would be going crazy, and if I wasn't doing things to keep my mind busy. So I took my ADHD and used it to my advantage, folks. And I literally have it, and I just use it to my advantage in a positive way. And when I meet young men and women who come into my office that have been diagnosed as I have with that, I try to empower them to use it in a positive way, to do positive things, to keep busy and use that energy to do something positive. I always tell people, pick one thing, Craig, and be the best at it. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. Just pick one thing in life and be the best at it.
And for you, that would be hosting a podcast. No, you're obviously being a lawyer is one of the things, helping people. That's one of the
just helping people, whether you're an attorney or not. Last week, by the way, I was back on Steve Lato's show on mymichigantv.com. That was great. You were on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I was back with Lato on the show, so that was pretty cool.
Well, that guy's hitting it on YouTube as well, man. He's got like 228,000 subscribers. He puts out a video. It's like 70,000 views right off the bat. I don't know. He's got something going on in the water there, that Steve Lato. I'm telling you. I
like that, Steve. And by the way, I did receive an email from somebody from another state, Alaska, actually. We love Alaska. I got to get to Alaska. And Alaska is one of the states that's recreational, by the way. And the email was asking me back in 2008 in the state of Michigan, what was the percentage of the voters that passed the medical marijuana, compassionate care initiative back then, otherwise known as Prop 1. And the answer to our friend in Alaska who listens on podcasts is 63% of the voters made Michigan at that time the 13th state to go the medical marijuana way at that time in 2008, which was like the Wild West back in those days.
Sure. How many people?
Because after 2008, do you recall, Craig, there was like 100 dispensaries that were opened, and then these cases went up to the courts. They started, the state shut them down. And in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, where I practice, Brandon McQueen was the first dispensary, as far as I can recall, that got shut down. It was considered a nuisance, and it went all the way to the higher courts, People v. McQueen. We got to have Brandon back on the show. Brandon's a great guy. Yeah. Big shout out to my buddy Brandon and out there, and Matt. Matt was involved with that at the time. But anyhow, the answer to that was 63%. Folks of the voters in Michigan. And right now, Guam, if you consider Guam, Washington, D.C., I think the count is up to 21 of recreational at this time.
Yeah, and it's over 30 of for medicinal.
For medical.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just there's the will of the people being done, my friend, the will of the people.
Yeah, and then when Governor Snyder was our governor, in 2016, if you recall, that was a major breakthrough that year when he signed 3 bills that pretty much launched Michigan's medical marijuana business, the entire industry at that time. That's when people, started applying for licenses and getting towns to opt in. We've come a long way at this time, a really long way. And then in 2018, voters passed by 56% the Michigan Regulation and Taxation Marijuana Act. So, and we were the 10th state at that time to do so back in 2018. A little review there for the folks, by the way.
Yeah, a little history lesson. It's always good to know where you've come from so you know where you're going.
Yeah, so I mean, we've come a long way, and we have a
Yes.
long way to go. Now, when you drive on the ditch up and down the highway, you see all the billboards and all the advertisements, and you never saw that in the past. and now
it really
it's
depends.
amazing.
It depends
It's
on where
amazing.
you are. Because if you're in a county where they have dispensaries, you see them all over the place. And then if you all of a sudden get to a county that doesn't have them, they dry up. It's really weird. Like if you're driving between Lansing and Grand Rapids on I-96, obviously Ingham County and Lansing, they have them. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a billboard for cannabis.
Craig, why would you ever say it? Why would you want to swing a dead cat?
I mean,
come on, Craig.
It's an expression.
I know. And
But
you know
then-
what, though?
But then when
What?
you get to Ionia County, there isn't anything there, and they're gone. And then you get to Kent County, and there are, and they're right.
Well, if you
back
drive
again.
north all the way over the bridge to the Upper Peninsula, you see the same thing, and they're popping up all over the Upper Peninsula. But, Craig, we are a law show. I am an attorney. I do have more law in my wheelhouse other than cannabis.
Okay.
I think it's a Bruce Banner taking effect. One thing that I had a conversation last week with an individual who contacted my office, and the question was, they had somebody stand on their couch and they wanted them out of the house. And I said, well, how long have they been staying on your couch? And they said a month. Wow. So, well, that's a tenant. You have to evict that person. So
Yeah.
this person couldn't believe that. And I'm not a landlord-tenant lawyer, but landlord-tenant law is all contractual. But at least in our state, and this is very consistent with all the other states that listen to this show, there's a lot of states out there, you had to evict your own child. How many of us had friends growing up, or did your parent get upset with you one day and said, get out of here, pack your bags and get out of here? Little did I know back then when I got booted about 5,000 times, I could have said to my folks, hey, listen, I'm going to be a lawyer someday, and I've come from the future back to the past. And I'm telling you right now, you have to evict me through the district court to evict me out of your house, okay? I'm your kid. You're not getting rid of me that easy. So, folks, in the state of Michigan, if somebody has been in your residence for about 2 weeks, and they have a toothbrush, they have clothes, they've crashed on your couch or even the floor, or how about a waterbed from 1985? You have to evict that person. Remember waterbeds, Craig?
I do. I had a waterbed.
I had a waterbed too, and
all
remember
through-
all the waterbed galleries? Whatever happened to waterbeds? How could they be so popular at one time?
They're all gone.
Yeah, but after the waterbeds came the futons.
Yeah.
Hey, Jen, are there still futons around?
Yeah, there's still.
Yes, we got it. We got an honorable mention from Jen in the background on the show. Finally.
Yay, Jen. They sell futons at like Walmart and places. There's futons all over the place.
Right, but water beds were a big deal. I used to have to take mine home from Central, back home to Metro Detroit, and hook a hose up to it and let the water out.
Now, do you ever remember the whole? Waterbeds are great when it's warm when it's cold in the winter. You can get a nice warm waterbed, but when it's hot in the summer, you could turn the water the temperature down and you'll be cool. Wrong. If you remember, in the summer, if you have your waterbed, like let's say you turn the thermostat off on your waterbed, the water gets like 60 degrees, and you get in that waterbed, and it draws your body heat out. It makes you all clammy and weird. Ugh. The summer. In the winter, it was great. When it was freezing outside, you get into your nice warm waterbed. Oh,
I think the thing that did it for me, which ended my waterbed career there, was when I left a Snickers bar, and I'm not trying to be funny, folks, on my waterbed, and I came home, and I realized there was I didn't know it was a Snickers at the time, and I thought one of my fraternity brothers, good old Sig Ep, Sigma Phi Epsilon, I love being a Sig Ep, always a Sig Ep. I thought one of my fraternity brothers was playing a nasty joke on me, and I was just peed off that somebody would do that to me. As it turns out, I went and got one of my fraternity brothers, and I said, hey, what the heck's going on here? This isn't funny. And he said, look at Todd, it's a freaking Snickers bar. Don't you see the peanuts? And it was a Snickers bar. Apparently, I had left on a waterbed and it had melted into a blob. But to me, it looked like someone was dropping the kids off to the Super Bowl, Craig, on Levitt's waterbed. I wasn't happy about it. I didn't have any Bruce Banner back then. It wasn't legal. If it was, I would have gone to the Hempire Collective, one of my favorite dispensaries besides Consano, got some product from the Porter family, and I would have lived happily ever after with some dense nugs.
So the Sig Eps.
That was all in one breath.
Yeah, it was. It was impressive. The Sig Eps, didn't they get banned from CMU forever?
Central Michigan University, our alma mater, banned the Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity for life. How do you ban a fraternity for life? I'm not even going to get into that show. That's a whole different show.
We could do a whole show on that.
Yeah,
It's
I
pretty
mean,
easy.
come on, man. We love Central. We're alumni. Fire up chips. We love everything about CMU and Mount Pleasant. But, yep, and there's some very prominent businessmen in the city of Mount Pleasant who are also SIGEPs. Out of respect and confidentiality, I'm not going to mention their names, but I think very highly of them. They're my heroes, and I love these older gentlemen who were very, instrumental in guiding our fraternity when we did get in trouble. And I do thank them. But, the SIGEPs are banned from Central Michigan for life. How does a university ban a group of men for life like that?
Pretty easy. They get a
For
piece
what?
of paper.
Having 33 keg parties? We didn't hurt anybody. We were just having 33 keg parties, Craig. Hey, listen, I'm over 55. I'm a senior citizen. Do they still have keg parties?
Yes, they do.
Did you ever do an upside down, keg drink
No,
shot?
I never did, but I'm sure
You never
would.
did?
No, I'm sure.
We would have kegs and just pile them on top of one another. We would get them from the store.
Oh,
And,
man.
there's a store called the store in Mount Pleasant. Great place. We used to get all our kegs from the store.
I'm amazed you're still alive sometimes. Just saying.
What are you talking
Just
about,
saying.
Craig?
Just
Look,
saying.
Craig.
Todd.
Todd. Who's out shredding the gnar on his bike every day?
I know.
Yours truly.
I know. Hey, we got to take a break on the Todd 11 Law Show.
Come on, Craig.
Come on, Todd. We'll be right back.
I met her in a club down in Old Soho, where you drink champagne and it tastes like Coca-Cola. C-O-L-A Cola. She walked up to me and she asked me to dance. I asked her her name and in a dark brown voice she said Lola. L-O-L-A Lola. La 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 Lola. Well, I'm not the world's most physical guy, but once you squeeze me tight, she nearly broke my spine. Oh my Lola. La 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 Lola. But I'm not dumb, but I can't understand why she walked like a woman but talked like a man. Oh my Lola. La 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 Lola. La 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 Lola.
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show, coming back strong with America's favorite nug, not Little John. Right on point.
I have to do it every time.
But Craig Russell, the muscle, the hustle. Hey, Craig, again, I want to thank Mario Porter for
Yes.
taking the time
Yes,
to
thank you.
come on the show. And thank you to the Porter family that own and operate the Hempire Collective right here in mid-Michigan, 10147 North Loomis Road, Clare, Michigan, folks. Yesterday, 1 year anniversary. The family gives so much back to the community and to veterans. They are veterans themselves, and they will continue to be guests on our show. But just a great business, great products. Be sure to check out the Hempire Collective. Get out there to Clare, Michigan. Look it up online. But we definitely want to thank the Porter family and Mario and all they do for the community, veterans, and everybody that comes to their business or the Hempire Collective.
Yeah, good people, good family. We thank them for their service. Hey, I've got to ask you a question. What
Sure.
have you been working on lawyer stuff this week? What have you been dealing with?
Well, the university is back in class, so we have had a number of operating while intoxicated cases come to our office here in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, not just from Mount Pleasant, but we have been taking cases up in Osceola, Otsego County, Grayling, which is Crawford County, all the way to Cadillac. So we have had a number of cases that have spread out across central and northern Michigan. And we give out a lot of information. We only specialize in a number of things. Obviously, we do anything and everything that is related to a driver's license. So on a daily basis, we are helping men and women, get their freedom back and get back on the road, making sure they meet all the requirements under state law. But quite a number of operating while intoxicated cases. I don't see, years ago, because I have been practicing for 28 years. I started practicing in 1994. in Metro Detroit for 12 years. But, for decades, I can do 10 shows on this about all the possession of marijuana cases, Craig, and paraphernalia. And law enforcement was just doing their job. We support law enforcement out there absolutely every day. They're out there saving lives. But, the laws were so, reefer madness. I mean, we can go on, and but all the possession cases and forfeitures and, the drug testing, decades and decades of that. And now all of a sudden it's 2021. And sometimes I just shake my head and go, wow, I'm happy where we are at. But what about all the men and women who suffered that were victims that got us to this point, that fought the good fight? So in any event, that's mostly what I have been doing for the past couple of weeks, if not years, is our wheelhouse here.
And of course, if you're hearing the show for the first time, maybe you've got a youngster who is at college. Maybe it's at Saginaw Valley, or maybe it's at Central, or at any number of the universities in the area, Baker College in Cadillac, or anything like that. And you need Todd services. 989-772-6000, Todd Levitt. That's the number you can call to the office if you need any information. Of course, after a week at a party, and maybe you got a call last night from the child at college and says, "I'm in trouble, Dad," and you gotta take care of the trouble. Call Todd; he'll help you out.
Yep, absolutely. And again, thank you to Mario Porter. Also, I want to dedicate this show to the memories of all those who perished on 9/11 20 years ago. This is, depending upon when you're listening to the show, if you're listening on podcast before the weekend, or you're listening on Sunday, September 12th. But this show is definitely dedicated to the memory of not those who we lost on 9/11, but all the men and women who went off to defend our country for the past 20 years, that also gave the ultimate sacrifice.
And everyone, basically, it's almost like a Memorial Day and a Remembrance Day. Obviously, it's a National Day of Prayer and it's a remembrance, but it's almost a Memorial Day, too, for all the soldiers who went to go fight to preserve our freedom, the people who not only fought in Afghanistan and places like that, but also who helped after the attacks on the United States. Let's hope we never have to go through that ever again.
Yeah, because, the difference, there's no difference, but I just want to state that I've represented a lot of vets over the years, and how many have we met who, we're a volunteer armed forces.
Right.
There was a draft at one time. I'm not sure if the recent generations, the young folks, they're taught this in school, but there was a draft at one point. And those who go off and defend our rights and our Constitution here and give us the freedom to do this, they volunteered to do that. And a lot of the vets that I've represented, after 9/11, they signed up and went over.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They didn't get drafted. They volunteered, and
yep.
And so there's something to be said for that. They weren't drafted.
Well, a lot of
nothing but love and appreciation for the vets.
There still is the selective service that when you're 18, you got to fill out the paperwork. So there's a lot there. You still know, a lot of the kids today still know about that there could be a draft.
I didn't know that they still have to do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. They still have to sign. They have to still sign up for selective service, even though it's not. There it probably will never be a draft again. But you never know.
Yeah, our dear Vietnam vets, because I'm 56, and I had a lot of friends in our neighborhood who went off to Vietnam, and most came back, some did not, but they were drafted.
See, I was already 100 years old when that was going on.
You were 100 years old.
That's just me.
You're like 150.
Todd, I hate to break the news to you, but
come on, Bruce Banner. We're not going anywhere, Craig.
Don't make me angry. You're not going to like me.
Don't make me angry. Hey, are we going to end the show with Lola or America today?
What do you want to do, Todd?
I don't know. Let's end it with, let me play rock, paper, scissors with myself. God, every time I play, I tie myself. I don't know what it is.
What do you know about that?
Come on, I don't know. Let's go out with America, because we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. But this weekend, we keep everyone in our thoughts. So take us out, Craig, with a little America. Thank you again to Mario Porter, the Hempire Collective, and the entire Porter family. We'll see you same time, same place, same nug of the universe. Craig Russell, the Muscle. See you next week.
Well, I tried to make it Sunday, but I got so damn depressed that I set my sights on Monday and I got myself undressed. I ain't ready for the altar, but I do agree there's times when a woman sure can be a friend of mine. But I keep on thinking about you, sister golden hair surprise, and I just can't live without you. Can't you see it in my eyes? I've been one poor correspondent, and I've been too hard to find, but it doesn't mean you ain't been on my mind.
The Todd L. Levitt Law Show, brought to you by Chad Malley Well Drilling of Rosebush, Clark Modular Homes, your most experienced and trusted builder in Mount Pleasant, and attorney Todd L. Levitt, not just a litigator, he's an advocator.
Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.